How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at colony survival. It bills itself as a bit of a voxel-based real-time strategy first-person game. So let's get started. Those were the tutorial, basically. Some pages on it. The tutorial is still not very advanced because the game is at the moment in early access, and at the moment here we are in the evening. It's going on night, and as you can see, we have the monsters approaching already. So the idea behind this game, as you can see, I've built a little base there. We have our fields here, and the unique aspect to it is actually these fields are worked by the peasants or the citizens of my little colony here. So for example, up there on the top of those towers, I have some archers, and they will be shooting at the enemies. I don't know if you want to call these zombies. I think people are a little bit reluctant to use that term these days. As a matter of fact, it was going on morning, so yeah. They gave you a little bit of an idea, though, what it was like overnight. And overall, the severity of the attacks, I should say, are not that great. So I've found that I've actually not needed as many archers as I had up there, and it's relatively easy to build a defense around your base. So the base itself, you start it by planting a flag right here, and you might notice in the lower corner, the lower left corner, I'm missing a couple of tools, so I need to build some more pickaxes so that my miners can continue mining. We're going to need an iron ingot, so there's one. Let's get it in our inventory, and then we need to build a few pickaxes, and they should be able to take those from the inventory. Right there, you can see it. And now they're going to be going downstairs to mine. So let's see here, he should be going down, yep. And then we can follow them down. Unfortunately, you can only build stairs in this game. There are currently no ladders or anything like that, so you're going to have to jump up every single one of them. But here are my miners at the moment. They're working on each individual plot. I think one's mining coal and another is mining clay. There are other kinds of deposits here. Like there's iron deposit, there is a gold deposit, there's a silver deposit, and then once their inventory is basically filled up with the goods that they are currently mining, they'll deposit it here in this storage box. So this saves them a trip all the way back upstairs to deposit it at the flag. I also have another storage box all the way upstairs here. As you can see, this is a little less than optimal to have to jump your way all the way back up, but it's doable. And obviously, since the game is still in early access, that's only likely to improve with time. So here we have the other box that I was talking about. This is where my farmers are actually depositing the food. So we have corn in one field, and then we have about 3 fields filled with berries. So berries are a relatively easy food resource to get up and going because all of these peasants do need to eat. So we have to make sure that we have adequate food supplies. Actually, I think I might have 4 berry farms already, and then 2 wheat farms. So that's pretty cool. Once you have produced the wheat, of course, they store it in your inventory, and you can, as sort of this overlord, you can access the inventory anytime from anywhere, the stockpile. It's a bit like a real-time strategy game where no matter where you are on the map, you can actually access your full inventory. You don't have to worry about running back here all the time. So then once we have the bread store or the wheat stored, right there you can see at the moment we have 182 wheat, then we have to grind it into flour. At the moment I don't have much flour left, so let's go ahead. You can see my baker here, he's waiting for flour. Yeah, the action symbol above his head indicates it. Oops. And let's just pick up that oven, and I'm going to be replacing it with a grindstone. Just put a grindstone down there instead. And wait, that's not a grindstone. Here we go. That's a grindstone. So now that peasant will automatically accept that as a job because it's available. That would be one aspect that I would like to see changed, is the ability to actually turn them on and off. At the moment, you can just set limits for like crafting, any of these sorts of buildings. There are just limits for them. And I would just like to be able to turn them on and off from time to time without adjusting the limits, you know. So now he's going to be producing wheat. So if we go here, as soon as he goes back to the stockpile box, there we just have 13 wheat, and then you'll see the baker before they're baking that into bread. And bread is actually a very good resource because it has a food value of 3 versus the berries, which only have a food value of 0.6, and it also heals you. So if you take damage in this game, and you most certainly can as this lord-like entity, By eating some bread, you'll heal that damage. There are a couple of ways you can take damage. You saw me running around with the monsters before. You can take damage from them, or you can take damage from falling. So once I actually fell into a mine that I was digging, and it took off about 25% of my health. I think the mine I was digging was located over here. If we dig a hole, so I think if we dig this up, you'll notice it's a big steep drop all the way down to the bottom. You probably can't see it there, and I don't want to fall in. But that goes all the way down to the mine that we were in previously. And then I have this little moat deck here. At the moment, there is not a whole lot else to the game. So if we look at the inventory and what we can craft at the moment, it's pretty limited. I have a mint, which allows you to craft gold, which allows you to put down a shop, and then with the shop you can buy various kinds of resources. You can buy berries, pretty much any food, I think, as well as flax. So at the moment I haven't gotten my flax production up and going, but it doesn't appear that there are many things that actually need flax aside from cosmetics. So I thought that at this point I've pretty much reached the extent of what the game has to offer functionally. There's just, going forward, there'd be the compulsion to actually make nicer buildings, because it's a little bit plain what I've designed so far. So let's go upstairs. This is the second floor, and this is where all the beds are. So this is the sleeping area pretty much for all the peasants. They're not affected by the weather. There really isn't any rain or something like that, but that would definitely be one of those elements I could see being added in later as the game is developed. And then right here, of course, are my guardsmen, my archers, I guess. They have their little quivers with the arrows in them, and they shoot from this height. They shoot down the monsters. So I don't have to do a whole lot. That's one of the great things here, this idea of having sort of a real-time strategy game tucked away in a first-person shooter kind of format, is I don't have to bother I don't have to bother mining the resources and stuff. And that's something I would like to see implemented in some of these other sort of survival crafting games, is a lot of the times, even as the game progresses, you're not going to actually see that progression made in terms of how you craft things. This is like pretty much any game. They make you grind through the basics all over and over again. You look at 7 Days to Die, you look at Don't Starve even. You reach a point where these things should be automated, and this game sort of fills that niche where you simply hire these peasants to do those jobs for you. I don't have to worry about harvesting my fields. The peasants do that. I don't have to worry about going downstairs and mining. I don't have to worry about crafting goods. All I have to worry about is the engineering aspects to it, setting up defenses, building buildings. I could create an entire town here, and I'm allowed to sort of sit back and focus on that, while at the same time managing my population to make sure they're working efficiently. So that's what I like about colony survival. At the moment, as I've said before, there isn't a whole lot here because it is currently in early access. I believe it is being developed by a 2-person team, if I read that correctly. There is a lot of promise here, but there just isn't a whole lot of content. So if you're looking for a game that's going to provide you with something more than maybe 4 or 5 hours of entertainment, and unless you're really into the design of architecture or architecture design, if that's something that really appeals to you. Otherwise, you're going to probably find the content a little bit sparse. Right now, the day is pretty much over with, so everybody is going back upstairs to bed, basically. So you'll notice they all lay down except for our 2 guards, who stand the ground 24/7. I do not know how they do that. They must be really jacked up on caffeine. And you can see there are actually a couple of places for them in the beds, even though they never use them. But that's basically how things go for the night. And shortly, there you can see some of the monsters are coming. So let's run out there once just before we end here. I took some damage there, about 20% damage. But we can go ahead and we can shoot these guys with a bow and some arrows. Missing there. Should only shoot them when they're aligned with the cardinal directions, basically. You don't want to try to shoot them on the diagonal unless you're a good shot. And I am not a good shot. I hate to say it, but I'm not very good at aiming. So that's pretty much it for colony survival overall. I think it is really promising. I like these games that are sort of genre bending or genre mixing, taking aspects of a couple of genres and trying to match them together and see what you can come up with. It's certainly something to keep an eye on. The price itself might be a little bit high, I think, but yeah, if you're interested in a first-person real-time strategy survival game, certainly go ahead and at least take a look at Colony Survival. So definitely one of the more shorter first impressions I've done. We're around about 10 minutes. So the game itself, though, it doesn't have much else to talk about, really. So I'll just say thank you very much for watching at this point, and I hope to see you next time.